welcome to the SDGs Lead, which is a series of conversations with prominent leaders and SDGs changemakers worldwide. Today, I am deeply honored to talk with Mr. Harald Sonderegger, an Austrian politician, president of Vorarlberger Landtag, or state parliament, since 2014. He is also a member of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe. Today, we will in particular stop on a very vital goal, which is SDG number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. In particular, we will talk on sustainable regional development. Mr. Sonderegger, thank you so much for joining and finding time.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
In order to start, we have to clearly understand what does sustainability mean, because for many regions and cities, it's quite a big challenge to understand its true meaning, which is vital for its further implementation. So my first question, what does regional sustainability mean for you? Whether there are some fundamental criteria that we may use in order to check whether a particular region is sustainable?
Well, while achieving regional sustainability is certainly a challenge, it is even more challenging to provide a concise definition. It is a very complex subject influenced by a number of very interdependent aspects. When we talk about regional sustainability, we will think to talk about access to education, job opportunities, economic prosperity, affordable housing, and responsible mobility, which includes a well-functioning public transporting system. We need to ensure health ecosystems with good water and air quality, sustainable energy production, a safe environment for people, and we need to support social cohesion. So I'm not saying that this is a full list and fully comprehensive, but it includes what I consider the most important factors. In Vorarlberg, in my home state, our mission statement, so to speak, is we call it the Raumbild 2030, which outlines kind of a vision for our region. It is closely tied to the UN 2030 agenda, providing a definite framework to cooperate with regional stakeholders and work on the aspects I have just mentioned. Our parliament also already adopted a resolution in 2009 towards the topic energy autonomy of our state, and we will achieve this goal by 2050 by strengthening our hydropower possibilities and in order to reduce or lower carbon oxide pollution in heating, in housing, in traffic, and also in the field of industrial production. So there are some of these big and huge amount of topics connected with SDGs.
Evidently, these aspects are very interrelated, but as a kind of uniting thread, probably we can name, and based on amazing practices of your Landtag, the mechanisms of promoting citizens' participation, so all stakeholders can be heard. Could you please elaborate a bit more on that in terms of probably best practices of your state parliament, and also not the least how young people can get involved and heard?
Yeah, I'll try to and give you later on 2 examples how we do it. I'm convinced that as a member of parliament, it is one of our very central responsibilities to be the voice of the people. It is part of our job to be in contact with the citizens, find out about their questions, their concerns, issues and ideas, and take them into account when we make or discuss and prepare decisions. It is crucial for me that the state parliament as a whole and its members form a point of contact for the population. This is particularly true for young people. I'm happy to say that our experiences in this respect have been very positive in these past years. In one of our projects, for example, we invite apprentices to visit the state parliament, to talk to members of the different parties and to ask questions they can develop beforehand in a moderated discussion. So far, the interest and also the attendance have been very stunning. Sadly, as the personal contact between politicians and young people is at the core of this project, the COVID-19 pandemic has momentarily put it on hold, but it will certainly continue when the circumstances have improved. And maybe as for a second example, I also would like to mention our students' parliament. It's consisting or made of the elected school speakers of all our schools in the state. And it forms a kind of a parliament situation. The students develop, debate and vote on a wide range of motions that concern educational topics. This does not only allow them to become more familiar with fundamental democratic processes, the students also have the opportunity to present some of their motions in our state parliament's Committee for Culture and Education and can thus contribute to our work. And of course, our Schülerinnenparlament meets in the parliament of our state. They are our guests to do this meeting.
It's really great and impressive, as I know that there are many young politicians in Austria, and I think the grounds for this political participation in future are laid on such initiatives, so students and young people get involved into these processes. They can understand the mechanisms and the responsibility from your parliament is really, really meaningful in this context. Of course, you've mentioned the impacts of pandemics, which is overwhelming in terms of different fields and its enormous negative impacts. But what particular impacts do you feel on the work of your Landtag, and what solutions, probably some practices that are taken to resist and deal with this enormous challenge for the whole world, which is especially felt on the local and regional level?
Well, yes, the pandemic has brought about challenges whose scope could hardly be predicted 1 year ago. In fact, in Vorarlberg, it's almost exactly today 1 year that we had the first addicted person with COVID-19. Fortunately, we have been able to handle this situation, I think, quite well. For us, especially as parliamentarians, it was critical to act very quickly, passing amendments that are necessary to deal with the pandemic in various areas and ensuring the state's financial power to take immediate measures. Up to now, we have spent although our state is a very small federal state of Austria, several millions to combat the virus. Our emphasis has been twofold. We focus on protecting the health of the population, of course, and on elevating the negative effects on our economy and labor market. Last week, for example, we increased our testing capacity up to 70,000 free COVID tests per week in a state which has 400,000 inhabitants. So everybody has to test and is offered to get tests for free, so that this is in our point of view a very important fact that people have the result very quickly and can say that they are in good health and that they don't spread the virus more. These test possibilities are available in central locations throughout the whole regions. Moreover, we introduced a mobile testing possibility, a so-called testing bus, which is driving to the smaller places and villages to meet the demand of the more rural areas in our state. Additionally, our vaccination program is running. At the moment, vaccines are being administered to the groups that are most vulnerable or most exposed. This means to elderly people and employees in the healthcare sector. In terms of support of our economy, I would like to make particular mention of our aid package to the tourism and the restaurant industry. So far, the financial assistance given to the affected businesses has amounted alone in Vorarlberg, which is in our state budget more than 10 million euros. This is a very small part because most of the support is given by the central government because they are also kind of in force and of these things. So they have to invest much more in these topics, and we do our investments just there where the governmental helps don't take place. Furthermore, we have increased our budgets for measures on the labor market, also in an amount of 59 million euros. Our main targets in the labor market are education for adolescents and additional training for unemployed people, especially people who have lost their work during this pandemic.
It's very great.
Just some examples.
Very inspiring in terms of that you have a cooperation with the government, so not only the central government contributes but also the local and regional authorities, which is really important as we have like crowdsourcing, which can be very targeted, and it's in fact a very inspiring practice, and I hope it will be also heard by other countries and other parliaments, also on local and regional level. What would be your advice to regional authorities who want to start the transformation of their region into sustainable and smart ones? What are the focal points probably here to start, and some priorities that they should pay attention initially?
Well, as I have mentioned, all regions are different. There is no, I think there is no universal way to achieve sustainability. However, I think that the starting point should always be the same. First, a very honest reflection and stock taking of where your region stands, of your resources, your necessities, your weaknesses, and also your strength. Only then you can define, I think, starting points, measures, and above all, long-term strategies to reach these SDGs. It is also crucial to bring stakeholders from various areas on board, businesses, research institutions, as well as the civil society. Close cooperation across various sectors and good planning are, I think, key factors for transforming your region towards a more sustainable region. Are some points I think that we can declare for all as important, but you always have to break it down on your special situation, on your special region and your requirements, where it is the most important point to start.
Absolutely. So it should be case-by-case approach, but nevertheless, these aspects are quite universal, especially if we talk about involvement of stakeholders and overall approaches that you've highlighted today. Thank you so much for such amazing conversation and sharing best practices of your state parliament. They are really, really inspiring, and I hope they would be probably started to be implemented somewhere in other places. What would be your message to the world leaders as well as people watching us, SDGs activists, young people, and those who want to contribute to the well-being of their city or region? What would you say to them to inspire them to follow these best practices and to get motivated?
Well, I think behind the SDGs there is a very inspiring vision. A world in which everyone has access to food, clean water and healthcare, access to education and employment. A world just in which the rule of law is upheld, a world of inclusive economic growth and that doesn't exceed the resources our planet can offer. This may, for many of us, sound utopian, and we certainly have a long way to go still. Still, we have to embrace this ambition and work towards reaching the SDGs in a joint effort of all levels. This includes heightening the public awareness and knowledge of these issues. If it is our vision to lead no one and to leave no one behind, we all have to work together to achieve sustainability. I think this is the apply to all of us, that we have to work together, that we look at our situation in the world, in the surrounding we are, and make the best out of it for the future, especially for the next generation, like you and others, many, many others.
Thank you for such a great words. In fact, partnership means a lot, cooperating and securing experience of one another. And thank you so much for your today's sharing of the experience of your Parliament. Thank you so much for this. It was really, really meaningful and highly valuable.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and best regards to you, Karina, and all the people who have watched us. Bye.
Thank you so much once again. Vielen Dank.